Back in April, the provincial government passed legislation requiring employers in Ontario to disclose electronic monitoring in the workplace. That could include employees' computers, cell phones, or GPS and the extent it's occurring. It came into effect Tuesday, and employers now have 30 days to provide workers with a written copy. Now, what does this mean for both sides? Employment lawyer Alex Lucifero joins us now. Alex, let's start with employers. What does the new legislation mean for them if they have 25 or more employees?
Well, it means, Matt, that they now have an obligation to have a written policy with respect to employee monitoring. So any electronic monitoring that's happening, and you mentioned the most popular ways in which employees are monitoring, and that's, of course, monitoring of cell phones and computers, and also GPS systems in transportation or vehicles. Employers now are required to disclose those things as a preliminary point. So again, there has to be a written policy that requires them to disclose it. It also requires employees to disclose exactly how employees are being monitored. So it's not only a question of disclosing that they are being monitored, but exactly how during work hours. Those are the new obligations on employers moving forward.
Okay, so let's go on the other side of this too. For employees here in the province of Ontario, what does it mean for them?
Yeah, so again, what this changes to the legislation have done is, again, they've required employers to have this policy in place. It really doesn't do much more than that, Matt, in the sense that it doesn't give employees any additional protections or rights when it comes to how they are monitored or how they are tracked in the workplace, nor for that matter does it remove any privacy rights or protections that they have. So really, from an employee's perspective, other than now knowing how your employer is tracking you, which, listen, quite frankly, is useful in and of itself, at least now you as an employee know, it really doesn't change the law or change any privacy rights in any particular way.
And I guess that was one of the biggest questions too, Alex, right, is about the privacy part of this though too. At least at now and monitoring it, what advice would you have to employees once they realize how their employer is tracking them? Does that matter at this point?
It certainly does. And I mean, funnily enough, we've received an increase in questions at our office from employees asking about their privacy rights in the workplace and what employers can and can't do. Really, again, the law hasn't changed in any particular way in that respect. What I think employees need to know is that during work hours, while you are actually working, your employer does have the right to monitor you. And that could include monitoring your computer, monitoring your keyboard strokes, monitoring your phone use, your email use, and of course, GPS systems as well. Where that stops is on your own personal time, whether that is breaks or the lunch hour, or certainly, during off work hours on your own time. Your employer wouldn't, of course, have the right to track your information there, and that should be made abundantly clear in these workplace policies.
And the last one, again, do we know yet too, is the employer going to be, they have the written policy, but is the employer going to be required to provide the information that they're getting to the employee if it's requested?
Well, certainly if it becomes relevant, I think there is a right there to have access to that information. It would form part of an employee's HR file, and employees do have the right to all of that information. I think that only will really come up if there are concerns. If there are concerns about productivity or what an employee is doing during their work time, I think that, of course, is relevant.
Okay, certainly appreciate the insight. Alex Lucifero, thank you for this, sir, as always.
Thank you, Matt.